Fathers of more than half of all OECD countries are still not entitled to a single day of paternity leave, affecting 2/3 of the world's children. While maternity leave and parental leave in general were huge issues with vast publicity, paternal leave was not given the same attention. We were lucky enough to get the world's leading experts on paternity leave to comment on an unedited, real footage of a couple fighting over the impact of the father's leave and the influences on their decision. Listen in.
Hello, my love.
Hello there.
I am very excited. Only 2 months until we will be able to hold our son.
Only 2 months? You don't look that pregnant.
I have been thinking. I don't want to be out of work for so long. You should take paternity leave too. I take the first 3 months of, you the next ones.
Are you crazy? I can't take time off work. And why should I? You're his mother. I am just his dad.
Yes, you're his father. That's why. It'll help you create a better bond with our son.
I'll spend enough time with him. Who cares about the first months? He won't remember them anyways.
Actually, parental leave is increasing the father's involvement with his child, even beyond the period immediately after the childbirth. Also, studies show that fathers who take paternity leave have a higher satisfaction and increased engagement in caring for their children. This leads to a stronger father-child relationship later down the road.
I'll manage to build a bond somehow. Our son won't benefit that much.
Paternity leave has lifelong benefits for the child. A study of the University of Oslo found that kids whose father took time off showed an improved performance at school. Another OECD report even states that children improve their behavioral skills, cognitive scores, and also mental health as they grow older.
See, I told you it will be good for our son. It will be good for us, too.
I don't see how.
Paternity leave is also beneficial for the relationship between the new father and mother. Research has shown that fathers who take paternity leave increase the mother's well-being. Plus, mothers are less likely to experience depression after giving birth. This leads to a stronger family foundation, which results also in a lower divorce rate. Besides, paternity leave is shaking up traditional gender roles and increases the gender equality at home.
Fine. Maybe you are right, but I still can't take time off work. I have a career.
All you always think about is your career. It's not normal.
It is quite normal that Mr. Smith mentioned that point, not Mrs. Smith. Studies have shown that men regard career-related aspects much higher than women. Anne-Sophie Duvender, for example, investigating how fathers and mothers prioritize different aspects when making leave decisions. Based on a survey of 500 expecting fathers and mothers, she discovered that men valued economic considerations almost twice as highly as women. Men feared negative economic repercussions much more than women. However, Duvender's participants were not aware of the actual economic implications, so their fears were not based on actual knowledge, just an assumption.
Fine, but your career won't suffer that much anyways.
You can't know that.
Mr. Smith is actually right to have these fears. Many investigations have led to similar answers, giving empirical basis to them. Returning fathers lose proportionally more income after parental leave than mothers do. Eliane Johansson conducted a study concluding that each month of father leaves reduced annual earnings by 7.5%. A returning mother's wage only dropped by 4.5% per month on leave. A different research team around James Albrecht found that a returning father's average wage decreased by 10% for each year on parental leave, while a mother's wage was not affected. But perhaps most noteworthy is the effect a parental leave has on one's partner's income. Johansson investigated exactly this phenomenon. A mother's leave didn't affect a partner's earning. A father's leave, on the other hand, increased his partner's earning by almost 6.7% per month of paternity leave, compared to a mother with similar length of leave.
Told you my career will suffer.
What about your coworkers? Have they suffered?
None have taken leave. Everybody is afraid of a bad image.
Mr. Smith's argument is quite difficult. Some results support his idea of negative impressions. Johansson considered paternal leave to have a stronger signaling effect. Albrecht suggests that mother's leave is expected while a father's isn't. Either would result in a negative connotation of the leave and thus the father. On the other hand, researchers from Austrian Joannem Institute encountered a completely different opinion on returning fathers, opposing Johansson and Albrecht. They discovered that a father's return after a parental leave is regarded as positive, while a mother's is viewed negatively. Fathers were described as returning with hunger for knowledge or increased effectiveness, while mothers returned dull-mindedly or rustily. The Joannen's researcher argued that this might actually lead to advantageous career implications for fathers taking a paternity leave.
All right, but doesn't your work even have a leave program?
We do have a leave program, but nobody takes it.
Take it. Who cares what others will think?
I can't. Everyone is so hostile towards leaves.
It's a personal choice.
Mrs. Smith's point is understandable. However, organizational culture plays a huge part in leave decisions. While many organizations do have parental leave programs even for fathers, a paternal leave may still be remembered poorly. Lisbeth Beckigan reported that the presence of these programs has little influence compared to the work environment. A negative attitude towards caring in general and a father's obligation drastically lowers the likelihood of paternal leave. Our culture of long work hours also renders a fatherhood leave unlikely. Vice versa, an emphasis of these values, female careers and flexible hours, makes a leave more likely. If the direct supervisor supports these aspects, a paternity leave may even be stronger.
See, I don't like leave either. I always end up with more work.
Why? Don't they hire replacements?
Never.
This may very well be true. Paternal leaves are generally much shorter than maternity leaves. According to the OECD, paternity leave in Iceland accounted for 30% of all parental leave, the top value. In Norway and Sweden, the number was just below 25%, and in Denmark and Finland, even lower than 10%. Due to these shorter leaves, firms are often forced to relocate work on other employees, as hiring temporary replacements for shorter periods is often impossible or inefficient. This obviously doesn't delight one's co-workers, which further aggravates possible passive hostility towards paternity leave in the workspace, supporting Albrecht's and Johansson's idea of a negative image of paternal leave.
That's awful. Your office needs to change that.
Why? It's not like they'd benefit.
That is simply untrue. Setting aside the issue of rehiring versus leave right now, parental leave has significant benefits for the company. Firstly, it increases worker retention and engagement. A report by the European Commission showed that parental leave programs increase employee retention and morale while reducing absenteeism. Secondly, it increases worker productivity. 81% of employers in California reported an increase in productivity after employees returned from parental leave, and employees returned with increased loyalty and motivation. Unfortunately, research aimed solely at the effect of paternal leave on productivity is still rare. An investigation of Kenya Power is one of the few existing ones. It discovered that fathers returning from leave were reported with high individual productivity and motivation.
It doesn't matter. I won't be able to change anything.
I want you to go on leave.
I don't care.
Unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Smith were not able to resolve the dispute in just one argument. However, we have gotten a clear overview of the benefits of parental leave and the different influences on leave decision making. But is paid parental leave worth it for the firm? The cost of rehiring a lost worker may be up to 213% of his annual salary. For such cases, a paid leave of 25 months for the same worker would still be less expensive than the replacement cost. And these durations only account for turnover cost. Non-monetary benefits, such as productivity, engagement, or image boost, come on top of them.